Hello, guys. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing? Almost Friday, guys. Oh my God, I am ready for the weekend. I don't know about you guys. Whew. I know I'm a little bit early, guys. I was getting ready for the stream tonight, and so I'm like getting the character, uh, in a good spot, basically. And I came across this person here. As you can see, this is a cheater. You see how it's the same one person, but there's two of them? Right, you see this often in like the open world when they're like there it might even be three of them, honestly, but this is a cheater here. You can see they have like a weird name, right? And then they kind of run around in circles. Usually they're like sorcery or something. I'm not sure how they do it, right? But they're sorcery. They have like the lightning aura up and they run around and then they make like 10 or 11 of themselves and they just follow each other and they just nuke everything in sight. And then they farm all the resources and they sell the resources basically, and they hog area. That is usually what they do. So, like when you see people like this, where it's like four or five of them, they're usually, I'll just call out what it is. They're usually just cheating somehow. I just thought it was interesting. We caught somebody like fresh doing it. You see them out in the open world from time to time. Usually they try to stay hidden for the most part. I actually think I might have seen this guy a couple times already, like over the years. Interesting, huh? Looks like they went to the trouble and made like a like they went to the trouble and they actually like edited the character too. Oh, look at them. It's actually two different people. Maybe I'm wrong about this, guys. But I don't think I am. I don't think I am. And I know I'm really early, so we won't even start it right away. I just thought I caught someone in the act. I could be wrong though, guys. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. I don't think I am at all. So we'll get started in a little while, guys. We'll get started in a little while. I was just getting my character ready, and I already made some mistakes, so we're gonna have to go into the town and fix that when we get started. We are gonna do the Blackwood chapter. We're using a Necromancer. We did, if you saw one of my earlier streams, we did make him over and we turned him to an orc. Uh, we turned him into an orc, folks. And there's like one or two major reasons, but I thought about it. I thought maybe we should do this and have a different kind of loadout. So with that said, we're not gonna get started right away. I just thought I caught somebody doing something weird. But while we wait, while we wait, yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of the scrolls. I was just getting ready for the stream and I caught someone. It looks like they're it looks like they're doing something shady. Usually you see people doing this kind of thing. It's obviously they're like on some kind of app or something like that. You see this over here? You come across people like this from time to time. And what they do is they hog a certain resource in the land and they run around. Usually they're sorcerers. I think I said this already, but usually they're sorcerers. And then they have like a bunch of the same character. And then they just walk forward and the sorcerer has a certain move and they walk forward and melt. And it's just there's so many of them. Just bot accounts, yeah. So they walk around like 6 or 7 bots at a time. That's what they do usually. You see, they're moving the exact same time. Usually, you don't catch them fresh. That's the only reason I started to stream early. Usually, you don't catch them fresh. You catch them, oop, right there, Geminiing it up. Yeah. Usually you catch them like hidden, like throughout the world, and they're running around picking up resources from other people and hogging everything. The first time I ever caught one in the tutorial, though, and they went ahead and they actually edited that Khajiit pretty good. They actually went ahead and made an actual character. Very very funny, very funny. But yes, guys. Yes, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? We are a little bit early, so we can hang out for a little bit. We'll do my whole shtick in about 15 minutes or so. We can talk a little bit about what I was doing with this character. As you guys know, we already did the tutorial, right? I went ahead and I was like looking at my character and I decided we should change his race. So now we're orc. Did a whole new character, right? We're right at the cusp of actually starting the game for real. So as you can see, bottom right hand side, we're at level 5. We didn't even start the game yet. We're gonna start in Blackwood chapter. We're gonna be playing for a little bit. I'll talk about like the way I like to start the game usually, instead of just jumping into the game and doing the story mode. Right, I like to do like one or two things. And the reason we are the orc is because I want to go heavy attack build with him, and also I like the orc's passives. And what I mean by that is I like a particular passive. Well, actually, I like two of them. Right, so we can take a look at his racial passives. Uh, you never go for or the character like for their innate passive. They usually come with one dish built into their class, right? Baked into their race, I mean. So he gets craftsman, increase your experience gain with the heavy attack armor skill line. With the heavy armor skill line, excuse me, folks, by 15%. Usually that's not the reason you pick a class, right? You might want to go for these other ones. Although at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much unless you're min maxing. But the reason we want to go him is for Swift Warrior, and it's mostly because of the increased movement speed, right? So in case we ever go to PvP, I like to be classes that are faster, in case we need to get out of dodge and really, really run, make a run for it. Uh, Very few races will be able to keep up with you, right? Certain classes they might have a nice like teleport or a streak ability, right? They might be able to catch up, but usually if you give them the rope a dope, you start running, you start heading for the hills, they'll be hard pressed to catch you. Uh, and also, it's easier to move throughout the world, right? Because we are going to be on a fresh character, so our mount isn't going to be up there. We do have to get to level 25, which I don't think is going to happen tonight, guys. He also has Inflicting Rage, which is pretty good. So when you deal damage, you heal for 700 health. I do believe that goes up in increments with each point you invest into it. So not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. And then he has Brawny, which is just increased max stamina, but we're not too worried about that one. I mean, it does help with your dodge rolls and everything like that. As far as weapons goes, we are using Destruction Staff. We are using the Lightning Staff, and there's a reason we use it. We'll talk about that once we're like in combat. And as for skills, guys, I do think I mentioned this earlier, but in this game, the way you level up skills is you have to have the skill on your bar while you're doing combat, right? And what I mean is, for instance, Gravelord. As long as I have any Gravelord ability slotted, in this case, Flame Skull and Blast Bones, it will level up the Gravelord um, skill line. Right, so it's a good idea to have one of each skill on your bar while you're leveling up. That way, it just levels the whole skill up as a whole, right? The whole little skill tree, and then you can make it to whatever. Like, say you don't even like Flame Skull, right? Say you want like Skeletal Mage, you're still gonna need to have something from this tree on to get to here. So in our case, we're gonna be mainly using Blast Bones, and then we want Skeletal Mage. I think we want Shocking Siphon. I'm not even sure yet, but for sure we want Skeletal Mage. We can morph him if we want to Skeletal Archer. We're not there yet. As you can see, usually when it gets to level 5, you see it's at 4 right now. When it reaches like the end of level 4, that's when you can morph it. So for example, we have Flame Skull here. And for the cost of a point, you can turn it into Venom Skull, which turns into a stamina ability. So usually most of the trees are like this. You'll give it either like you turn it into like spending stamina or spending magicka, and it'll have like a different ability depending on whichever one you pick. So for this case, like Venom Skull, you can see it deals poison damage. It still does the third casting. So, but casting any Necromancer ability will count towards the cast, right? So that is that right there. We're not going to be using this, I don't think, so we're not going to worry about it too much. Right, but it does have a nice mechanic. So every time you do like a third cast, it deals 20% increased damage. And then Ricochet Skull, which is pretty cool, is every third cast, it'll do extra damage and it'll bounce around towards like every enemy in there. I know I'm kind of just like giving the cliff notes, right? But you can see, you can read, guys, right? It'll bounce around a couple times. It'll hit some other enemies that are close by, and not bad. Not a bad skill. What we want though is we want to level up this blast bones, and we eventually want to make it a skeletal mage. We're also using from this tree right here, the Bone Terror and Death Scythe. And Death Scythe is pretty good. It heals you. It says advertised. You swing old big old scythe. Get some energy back. We do have the morph for it. I do think we might go Ruinous Scythe. I'm pretty sure. When you do that, it converts to bleed damage. It applies hemorrhaging. I do believe it still heals us. It sure does. So we're not, we'll be alright. We'll be alright. And I do think this is more solo friendly. There's the reason we're switching to like this kind of setup. Is because we're not gonna be grouped up with a lot of people. So I need to have some survivability in my pocket. And from our Living Death tree, we have Render Flesh, but I'm not sure what we're gonna get here. We're probably gonna go for Spirit Mender, which summons a spirit to heal us. And that is the goal. As you can see, the later classes, because this class came out later down the game's in the game's life. So each class tree, this isn't the case for every single class that's in the game, right? Maybe only for like Warden and Necromancer. Uh, each class is more focused towards a particular role. So Gravelord is like your DPS kind of role. Uh, it's not that these don't have any kind of DPS in there, right? But they're more like fine tuned. So this is like pure DPS, right? You throw this flaming skull, you throw the exploding skeleton. Oh, you do the AOE. You summon a pet that does damage, right? And then this is Bone Tyrant, so this one is more tank oriented, right? You have a move that heals you. You have armor. You have a heal, right? So this is more tank oriented, and this is the healing one. Sacrifice power to repair flesh. So this is heals, cleanses, heals, heals, right? So uh, they got a little bit more proficient with like the way they were building classes. I do think the starting classes, like the first, I think it's either 4 or 6 of them, they were more thematic with their things. So they just had things that fit their role. Like Nightblade had a bunch of like assassin moves, right? But he didn't necessarily have like a whole tree dedicated to just like, oh, I'm a healer kind of thing. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. As you can see, once you finish the tutorial, guys, any DLCs you have, you can start the game there, right? So we have this one. This is where you got the Necromancer thing. I'm not even sure the names of the DLCs because it's been so long. But I do believe I got elsewhere for the Necromancer class. We got Blackwood for the companions. This is like the first set of companions. There's another DLC that we don't have that has more companions, which I think actually are better than the ones we have. I do think it's this one right here. This should be High Isle. Right, and then there's some beginning areas where you just get just because you're playing the game. Stress Mackay, Bleak Rock Isle, Vardenfell. Right, so some cool stuff here. We are going to start in Blackwood though. And we start in Blackwood because I do want to grab a companion or two. And we can have them throughout our leveling up process. As you can see as well, we did do our champion points. If you guys don't know what that is, when you reach level 50 on whatever character you're using, you basically reach your level cap and then you start getting champion points for each level gained. And then those are just extra stats, basically. Right, so you need a lot of them. I don't think you need at least 12 to 1400 to like cap out whatever you're trying to do. And then you keep getting points, but then you can't really, like whatever you're doing in one. In a few months. I do think it funny enough, it is in June. The new DLC is in June, and I will admit that I'm looking forward to it because the class in there. Isn't that funny? Hello, guys. Testing, testing. I do believe I am back. Sorry about that, guys. Basically, the game just like kind of quit on me. It kind of just went to the home screen. So I am back, guys. Uh, as you can see, like I said, we are still using the Necromancer. We did just change things up. Um, we are right in front of where we're gonna get started at. So we're gonna load the game up. I am gonna grab some water. Then we're gonna get right into my shtick. We're gonna get right to the game, and hopefully we have a good time. Hopefully the game doesn't like just crap out on me like it did uh, a minute ago. But I do need some water pretty bad, right? So let's load the game up. At least the game doesn't chug, right? This is the reason we are doing Elder Scrolls today is because our other planned game didn't really do too well. So I do think we're just gonna chill out tonight, have a good time, work on this Necromancer, right? Work on this Necromancer, guys. And that's what we're doing. Once we get to Blackwood, we will pivot to get our companions. And then yeah, and then we'll start the regular playthrough. So with that said, guys, let me get some water. I'll come back. We'll get right into my shtick so that we can upload it to YouTube. And yeah, a few minutes, guys. Be right back. All right, guys, I am back. How's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing? It's Thursday already, huh? Almost a weekend. Oh, it's almost a weekend. I hope you guys are ready. Guys, welcome. Welcome to my live stream. Guys, if you don't know who I am and you're watching on YouTube, my name is Frank Gallows, and I stream every day, folks, or as often as possible, usually on the weekdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when you can catch me. If you've been watching me on YouTube for a while and you want to watch me live, there's a link to my channel, description of the video. I'd love to have you. Um, and if you don't want to do that, what I suggest you do is hit that link at my channel and then come over here and watch me live, guys. Feel free to like and subscribe over there as well. I don't mind it at all. We do have plans for that channel in the future. But I would love for you guys to come and see me. At the same time, I do talk to everybody that is in the chat, as long as they talk to me. And tonight we're playing all the Scrolls. We're using Necromancer. As you can see, we're going to be doing some of the Blackwood chapter. We are going to get our companions. We're going to start up the game right now. We're going to let the cutscene play because I haven't really streamed the game on here like that. So uh, I do think for every DLC you go to, there's like a little minor cutscene. Nothing too egregious, guys, right? So we're going to let it start, and I'm going to get all settled in.
I knew I felt something strange, like glass shattering in the distance.
Murdered, and so close to the city gates.
Keep your voice down. Do you want to start a panic?
Until we know more, I'm not prepared to engage in an all-out war with the Dark Brotherhood.
Too many times dry-skins have come to our swamps in an attempt to claim them. These Imperials seemed no different.
I had a vision of a shadowy figure. It was a robed and hooded cultist. It was brief and powerful, over in a moment, but the figure felt evil.
Now, who are these cultists? And how well do you trust your masters in Leowyn?
Alright, guys. I am back. Do keep in mind we are on Xbox, so it doesn't look as good as it usually would. Also, you know me, I really prefer performance over fidelity. We can take a brief look at fidelity. There's really not that much difference, I'll be honest with you guys. But we'll apply it. So as you can see, it just makes the game slower. And it doesn't look, I mean, it looks slightly better. It looks slightly better, but really, yeah. So, you know, unless you're on PC and you're running some like mods or whatever, it's not, you know, nothing to write home about. And it just, if you put the performance on, I think you're just better off making it run smoother. You can see it's kind of jittery. So we will do performance. It is pretty old. I would say at least about 10 years old. At least, right? I will admit, I don't remember. I remember like, and this is like, you could tell how old this is, right? Like I remember Angry Joe doing a review on this, and he was mad. He was real mad, like when the game first came out. Nope, not worth it at all. I'd rather it run pretty smooth. Also, something else to keep in mind, guys, we did fix like the camera to my kind of like preferred playstyle, right? So what I mean by that is, there we go. So you can see I kind of like brought the camera out a little bit. Right, because usually it's like around here. It's like it's closer in on your character. But I have it a little bit further back so I could see things around me. Which I feel like is actually a lot better. Usually I do have it like this, right? But, you know what? We'll leave it like that. Because I like to see everything around me just in case it sneaks up and tries to like bite my ankle or something like that. Right, so, with that said, let's get started. And I do see there's this guy right there, right, though. But let's talk to this guy and get the main storyline started up. So we came to Blackwood. As you can see, they had that little teaser right there. I'll be honest, well, ray tracing is like lighting and stuff like that, right? I don't even know if these consoles can take advantage of that. Like I know that's more for PC. I remember when wasn't Fallout 76 wasn't the guy talking about ray tracing the whole time and how like good it was gonna look? And then the game came out and didn't look so good, did it? Or it just looked like any other Fallout game. I honestly wouldn't know. And that's the start of the main story. So for people that don't play this game, basically we start out in zones, right? And every zone has its own contained like story in it. And there's like a main zone story. Right, you can open if we hold down this like open the zone guide, as you can see, there's seven zone quests here, right? There's 12 waypoint shrines. Right, there's a set amount of stuff you can do in here. Usually for each zone, we can, let's see if I can back up and take a look, right? You see, and it doesn't matter what level you are because I do believe like the world, like you kind of are like scaled up to the world until you reach your max level. So you could go from zone to zone and do the complete storyline if that's what you want. And then there's like a main overall like storyline for like when the game first came out where you could get like I think at least 24 like skill points, so you might want to do that as well. Um, Also each zone has these sky shards, right? As you can see, let's open up the zone guide again. There we go. And when you get 3 sky shards, you get 1 skill point. So it pays, it does, what you call it. It is worth it to find all the sky shards in a zone and get as many skill points as you can, because eventually you're going to need a lot of them. Even when you start out and you don't have that many, right? What we need to do for this character is basically take our point off a dual wield and then start investing in the destruction staff. And that's basically all we need to do for him. Okay. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a PC thing, right? Like all the extra graphics, because consoles are just behind. That's just a fact, right? They're not going to be on like PC's level. So I know I heard a lot of talk of it, but as far as me seeing it, not until we get like our own PC. With that said, we'll get our Sky Shark. Now I do have a couple things that put me ahead of like a few people that are like brand new because I do have champion points. As you can see, we have a lot of them. Not a lot of them, but we have a pretty fair amount, enough to fill out our attack tree, our warfare tree, and we have enough to fill out our fitness tree as well. Right, so we are at a slight advantage here. I also do have access to some stuff, like I do have a mount. I don't have the greatest mounts, mind you guys, right? I have a few horses. Nothing crazy. Nothing like some like whales you would see in the game having. Right, so we have a few mounts. We will just start out with a basic like horse right now. I usually either start with like the Imperial horse or the white mane horse, just because you know, it's like all black or all white. Uh, that is true. That is true. For like the average person, right? But I do want to invest more into the stream, so we'll have to have a little something, but not for gaming, right? It'd be purely for streaming and I guess capturing and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to look more into it because I think it's about time we just bit the bullet and got what we needed to get and try to work things out later. Um, let's just do the white mane horse. You can name these horses, guys. If you go to actions, you can rename the horses, but you won't see the horse's name aside from here. And then even then, you'll only see it at the right-hand side, right? And we're gonna do a couple things first. We first got the sky shard, right? And I do want to get these way shrines here, because if you want to teleport, your best bet is to go to a way shrine, and then use that, and you can teleport to other way shrines for free. You can see my horse is super slow, guys, because we need to put points into it to make it move faster, which sucks. And we can take a look at some of our skills now that there's like an enemy here. Yeah, it's more just like for your own head lore, your head canon. I do think maybe if you like look at somebody else's horse when they're riding it, or if you have your nameplates on, maybe it might show the horse's name, but really, you won't be missing out on much if you don't name the horse. You really won't. Um, so we could take a look. So when I say that I was first like really disappointed with this Necromancer class is because of the way his moves work. I do like the class now and it does pretty good damage, but like I'm not sure about you, but most people, I would say at least when you think about Necromancer, you think about him just summoning a bunch of like skeletons and then they're just out and they do his bidding, right? So the first skeleton move we have is called Blast Bones, and basically it is just you're throwing a bomb, but it's a skeleton, right? So take a look at it. We raise a skeleton, it sees an enemy, it runs over there, blows up. Right, and then that's your skeleton move. We can take some damage from him so we can see our other move here, which is the scythe move, right? So that's our scythe move. You can see we're getting some heals over time. And we can spam that. It costs magicka. Oh, but that's your first skeleton, and I will admit when I first got it, like I said, I was like, oh, this sucks. That was my initial impression. I was like, this is ass. Um, Now we can morph it. I held off on morphing it. Oh no, we can't morph it. Epic fail. Right, but that's what you do. You throw the blast bones. So basically the way we're gonna do our fighting, right, we're gonna do mostly heavy attacks. And then like sparingly use our powers. Unless we really need to get some damage out. And you can see it does pretty good damage. Every time you discover a new way shrine, guys, you do get some experience. When you discover them, they do turn white. When you get close enough, they are basically like this, right? They're all like blacked out. They're shadowed out. Now, being as I already got my companions, I can simply go to the collections, and under the allies section, there's companions here, right? Now, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna slot them. Now, I can't use them. I have to do the quest to get them all over again. Each character you make, you have to do the quest over. Um, it's not going to be fun in June once that character comes out, the new class, because you cannot change your class. There's no like class change tokens, right? You have to make a new character, pick the class, and then level it up. So we're going to have to do all this over again, believe it or not. But the nice thing about this is that since we got them the first time around, all we have to do is select them, and we can start up the quest to get them. So you can see we have to go all the way over here to the north. We are on foot though, right? So now that we have this waypoint shrine, I do want to come back and I want to sell a couple of things. This is the main town here. We're gonna be mostly on foot, guys. Oops. You can see there's other players out in the world walking around. I do think most of the new players are in the newer DLC. This is like a DLC behind, pretty much. So they're in the new zone. But you can see some people walking around, right? Pretty high leveled. That big like number to the left of their name, that's like their champion point level. So he's like level 1000 plus. There's like someone here. Right, that's their companion. We could go to first person mode here and take a look at them. You can play in first person mode if you want, guys. I prefer third person. But if you, I know this is a popular play style. So it's up to you. You can just have, if you're playing on console, just have down on the D-pad. And we get up to the Stable Master. I don't know if I have enough gold to raise my speed. No, we need some gold. So I'm gonna be mostly quiet during like these the little dialogue, since I don't have to narrate or anything like that. It makes it more convenient for me. Um, then we have some basic questions here. Um, they don't really give you much, right? It's just more for flavor, but we can play out these choices. We'll just go like down the list. Can't hear him. That's funny. Well, with that said, then if you can't hear him, I guess we'll just continue on with the playthrough, right? So there's someone here that wants to group up with me. They did invite me to play. I don't know. I do not know them. Ah, there they are. Unfortunately, we're just doing our own thing. So, um, we're just gonna do some stuff here, right? We're gonna sell some of the stuff I picked up when I was leveling up, and then we're gonna go to this church here. We're gonna get rid of our whatever one little skill point that we invested. You see, most of the players are in this central hub here. You see they're running real fast. Um, Usually a lot of them are around here, teleporting around, right? What I like to do when I get started though is I like to join the Fighters Guild and the Mages Guild because they open up some extra skill trees that you do kind of want on you while you're playing through the game. And I do believe this is the Mages Guild here. And when you, most towns do have a Mages Guild. Once you join one though, it kind of like, you don't really need to join the other ones. Um, all he does is ask you a bunch of questions and you just say you want to join it. And once you join it, you get the skill line here. And then you have it. The Mages Guild has some pretty good skills in here. Mostly it's super, it's ultimate. Ultimate is really good. Mage Light I think is decent. There are a lot of decent moves in here, but getting this skill tree leveled up, or the skill line, if you want to call it that, is a lot of work. And if you are ultaholic, it is a pain in the ass. I'm not even gonna lie about that. So your best bet, guys, I would say if you're leveling with the Mages Guild, is to make sure you're on your main character. For sure. Make sure it's a character that you like and you're not gonna use, like he's not an alternate. And you get that Mages Guild line leveled up. You do that, guys. And there are ways to get them quickly on your ults, and mostly that is with actual money, which is why I say make sure you're on your main when you do it, because you're going to be missing out. You're going to be hurting. If you're like an ultaholic and you do have like me, like when you make a character, you kind of have like a whole head cannon for them, then you're going to be in for a grind. You're going to be in for a grind, that's for sure. And I don't. Much respect if you could do it, guys, right? I respect that. But it's going to be a lot of work. Right, so we have the Mages Guild. Uh, we're just gonna get the Fighters Guild. And the only reason we're doing it here is because I actually know where they're at. It's kind of like burned into my brain. So the Fighters Guild is right here. The Fighters Guild to get leveled up is pretty easy. You just gotta kill Daedra and like undead enemies. Right, so he just asks us some questions. We want to join the guild. We join it. Now we have the skill line here. The Fighters Guild has a really good ultimate. It has Dawnbreaker. Silverbolt is pretty good. Circle Protection. These are pretty decent skills. Usually people will use Silverbolt and Trap Beast. Expert Hunter as well for a buff. As you can see, while sliding, you get Major Savagery and Prophecy. Extra critical. So, pretty good. And then you have some stuff for like for your playthrough, Intimidating Presence, so you can intimidate people in your conversations. Uh, if you're a fan of the game, you know that you can basically either intimidate them or kind of like talk to them a little bit more nicely, and you could get the quest done a little bit faster sometimes. You don't need to get it. I think there's like one quest where you might need Intimidating Presence, maybe just one of them. But you won't be missing out if you don't get Intimidating Presence or Persuasive Will. And let's go ahead and sell some of this stuff. Right, there's the blacksmithing station here. Here's the woodworking station, and basically, like I said, I'm not sure how it is in other games, but if we take a look at our armor, for example, oh, might be okay. So you see, our armor does have. If you look to the right-hand side in the middle, you see how it has something called training on it. So it comes with like an ability, and basically I can research that ability at the cost of the armor. And then I can like, eventually when I'm crafting my own gear, I could put training onto like something I'm crafting. So if you see something you really want and you're not going to use the armor, or you get out of level it soon, hold on to that armor and then like do some researching on it. Now when you do that, guys, remember it's going to destroy the armor that you have and it's going to take the ability out. and then later on when you craft it, then you could use it, right, for your crafting. If you're like super new at the game and you're like super free to play, don't even bother with this because you're gonna need to do a lot to craft gear. But you might want to, if there's some things that you really like using, for example, like training gets your experience up quicker. Um, for damage, you might want to do like critical. Divines is good. Right, just look at stuff that you might really need and then just go ahead and do it anyway, just that way you have it and you won't need it later on down the line. As you can see, me doing it will take 6 hours for it to just complete. So you basically will be stuck like waiting for armors to finish. Uh, what I want for this, I don't think we even have it yet, is we're gonna need to get the training out of these legs here. But we can't do it yet. And also, since it's not armor, you need to go to the clothing station, which I do think is over here. And this is where you could get like your cloth and your leather parts broken down. Unfortunately, since we have that piece equipped that we're using for training, we can't do anything yet. You can also deconstruct stuff and get materials out of it. Right? So if you don't want to sell it, you can deconstruct it, right? We'll just do one of them. You see we got some rawhide and some obsidian. But those fill up your inventory very quickly. So if you're free to play, if you're new, don't be afraid to sell a lot of the stuff. Every person you visit can repair your stuff, right? So we're just gonna sell this stuff here. Not really worth much. And I'm not really concerned about all this stuff here. Doesn't matter. I don't care. It's fine. It's all the same. And so you know, it's all this stuff is here. Because there's a lot of people trying to give you missions. You can pick up like 15 missions, guys. Just try not to get sidetracked. I know it's easy to do. Uh, if you're getting lost, your journal's right here, and you can look at your quests. Right, so we have our zone story. That's all we have right now. We're going to the church. And if you need a respec, guys, don't. So here's some things, right? Don't waste money respecking for no reason. If it comes down to it and you really are hard up to respec, just Google, guys. Right? We're in this day and age where you could just Google everything. Usually they'll tell you to make it to like a chapel or a church and or like a shrine. Quiet, right? And you can see the shrines that we can pray to, and we can reset our attributes here. We can reset our skills here. This is to get married, guys. The marriage system is ass in this game, unfortunately. But if you're playing with your lady or if you're playing with your fella and you want to get them into the game, it is worth it sometimes, unless you just like are that good at leveling up to bond with them. It is a little expensive though, so you know, try to save on that. Don't just start getting married for no reason. And for here, we are going to get rid of this dual wield skill. There we go. So if you're not using dual wields, right? And then as far as this goes, I do think we can get Flame Skull off of here. For each one you do, though, it's going to cost a little bit more money. So just be careful, guys, right? When you're starting out, though, it doesn't really cost too much, but the more points you have and the more you're taking away, the more this costs to respec and everything like that. Just be careful. Right, that pretty much tapped us out in gold because we didn't really have much to begin with, but we have a couple extra points now. Right, so we could do just Wall of Elements. Wall of Elements is a pretty decent move. As you can see, like even each weapon has its own skill set as well, right? So you don't even gotta play your class things, right? You can pick weapons and then use like be a weapon master, whatever you want to call it. Very customizable. You can have a mix of weapons and your skills in your like loadout, right? So usually when I use the staff, though, I do like to have all the elements, and we're gonna get that. And what I think we're gonna do is we're gonna put that here, and we get Death Cipher. We're gonna put that here. I see we can level that up, right? So we're gonna level that up as well. And Living Flesh we're not gonna touch right now, even though it's there. We're just gonna use that as an emergency heal. Right in like even the weapons have their own passives, right? So you deal more damage. Each like element does something different, right? Ignores resistances. So you're not really tied down into too much of anything. You can mix and match for your own playstyle. Um, with that said, though, let's go ahead and level up this Death Scythe. I do want to use Ronin's Scythe, I think. I do have it so that we don't attack innocents. That way I don't hurt anybody by accident, because you can like kill these people in here and then get a bomb in your head, and then you'll be screwed. That's something you have to set out for yourself and fix your options when you first start the game. Here's all the elements. Basically, I bang my staff on the floor. You can see we're using a lightning staff, so everything is like electrified. And anybody standing here just gets a nice DOT on them. Also, guys, since we are just starting out, right? Hmm. All right, we can evolve it. You don't have to like morph every move, guys. So if you don't want to use the move, no, feel free to not morph it. Just keep in mind though that at some point you might want to level everything up just to have it, right? Because you never know if you want to like change your player style up. Like say maybe you might want to be a healer and you might regret not like leveling up your render flesh and morphing it into like something else here. So just keep that in mind, right? If you're dead set on just DPSing, just period, right? Then I guess in the long run it's not going to matter too much. But you might want to just do it just to test it out, just to see if you like it, right? It might even change your opinion and your playstyle. So don't be too worried about having to respec all the time, right? You'll get enough points where you'll have a nice amount of moves to select from. You won't be able to level up every move at the same time individually, but uh, a generous amount. You'll have a generous amount. You can see we do have our racial passive. We're going to put that on max stamina. And then we're just going to make sure that we have the quest that we want, which is Shattered and Scattered. We want that because we do want to have our companion with us, which will make our life a little bit easier. You guys know what a companion is, by the way? It's an NPC that you can have alongside with you in battle. They can go into most instances. Most of the stuff that you have that are purely solo, like story mode, they can join you in there if you need a little bit of help. And you can, once we get them, we can see you can deck them out pretty fairly. And they do a pretty good amount of damage. You can bring them into dungeons as well. Uh, I mean, they're never going to be as good as another person, unless the person is that bad at the game. But they do pick up the slack. Right, it's better than not having anybody. And some people, some classes don't have pets, so that is kind of your pet if you want it to be. Oh, you do? You do? Okay. Do keep that in mind, folks, right? If you're watching this and you're on YouTube, this is my first Elder Scrolls game. So, I can only speak on this one, but I am being informed, folks, that you do get companions elsewhere. That's good to know. That's cool. I guess that's why they eventually added them here, huh? Because I know they're fairly new addition within like the last year they came out. We're on foot, guys, because my mount is very slow. You do have to level them up at the stable master. You can only do one level up per day. So it takes about 60 days to get him to max speed, and then he has like 3 stats. So get ready for that. You can see we're making a beeline towards this right here. This is our quest that we want to get completed. You can see I move faster than my horse. Right, I'm fast as fuck. I move faster than him. So we're just going to do that. And you can see sprinting does cost stamina. If you look at the right hand side of my bar, that's my stamina bar. The left side is my magicka. Right in the middle is my health, guys. Every time you find a new area, you do get a bit of experience as well. So if you want to take the time and explore, you can do that. Don't be too concerned about dying. You should be fine for the most part. The reason, guys, the reason why you want to get the Mages Guild and Fighters Guild right away is because out in the open world, you will find, for the Mages Guild, you'll find like tomes out here in the world. And reading the tomes levels up your Mages Guild. Now, if you don't have the Mages Guild at all and you read that tome, you're never going to be able to read that tome again. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You might want to just get that little part of the game done quickly. Usually the tomes for Mages Guild are purple. Keep in mind you need some lockpicks if you want to do this right here. But there's random chests out in the world as well, and you can pick up loot. Guys, if you're new, just pick everything up, by the way. That way the chest can disappear, because if you leave that chest with some loot in it, people can find the chest, and all they'll find is the loot that you left in there. Which will be basically nothing, because you're going to cherry pick the best things from there. Just be kind. Just be nice, take the whole thing, and then let it respawn on its own. It won't always respawn in the exact same area. There's like a set amount of places it could pop up at. But if it was like the one for that area, they'll basically be picking it up and be getting like nothing from it. We're just making our way to this way shrine real quick, just because I happen to see it here. Usually you know when it's activated because it'll have this blue flame. There's not many enemies here. They're usually just like the wild fauna. Some of them are hostile though, like the bears here are hostile. You know, it depends on the part of the map you're at. What was that? Something's happening. Someone needs help. I know you get, there it is. So sometimes out in the world, you'll see like some random things here. Uh, we missed this cutscene right here, but this frog ate somebody. We're just gonna help her out. I guess this person here, this is another player. They came across this person. I guess they didn't want to help him. There's a person in there. They got eaten up by the frog. You don't really get anything, by the way. It's just like this person basically activated the little cutscene. Maybe we'll come across it again in the world. Like basically, the person just found the giant frog and was looking at it, and the frog ate her. You can leave her in there. You won't get any kind of like penalty. There's no kind of like good and evil system in the game. Right? There's no like, oh, you did this, now you're evil. Then the bar goes up for bad guy points. It's not like that. But there's like some semi-interesting little events that you can find here. We're taking just basically a shortcut. Right, I'm just hoofing it. I'm just hightailing it. But we'll stop and fight like bears and wildlife and try to get a little bit of experience up. It won't be much at all though, guys. You'll gain most of the experience from just doing quests. killing world bosses, doing dungeons, right? Exploring the map and actually unlocking like shrines and stuff like that. Right? You can kill this fauna here, and you can take their meat. You can cook food and stuff like that. It'll buff you for a little while. I do believe you can pick like the plants as well, and you could use that for crafting armor. Let's pop that staff thing on the floor. There we go. You can see the whole time it's out there taking some DOTs. Keep in mind we're not the strongest at the moment. For some other character, this bear would have been super melted. Yeah. How was Fable, by the way, guys? I've heard some people say they were disappointed in the first one. I heard people say they loved the first one. I know there's like three of them and they're making another one, but I never really played it. You ain't kidding about those bugs. There's some bugs in this game that have been here for a long time. A long, long time. Let's kill some more of these enemies. Gotta get in close. We're just gonna pick up stuff to sell pretty much. But we gotta be careful because my inventory isn't the largest. Yeah, there's some bad ones. There's some bad ones. None of them come to mind, but once we come across them, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was when I remember, right? It's bound to happen at some point. I do think there was a game-breaking block bug for tanks though, where you would do something and it'll mess your block up, and then you couldn't block, and you would just get ripped apart. So it would make you unable to run dungeons and stuff like that. So here's the beginning of the quest line. This is the companion you get when you finish the quest. Right, so this is the start of it. So I'll give a roundabout thing since you can't hear the voices. Basically, her brother's trapped in that dungeon that we're gonna go in, and we're gonna help her save him, and then she's gonna be grateful and become our companion. So we're gonna go into the ruins, and she's gonna come along, but she's not our companion yet, right? Right now she's just an NPC, and that's Mary. We go into these ruins here. You will be seeing other players here. You can see there's a human there. They're a sorcerer, which means I won't be able to kill much because they're going to be ripping things to shreds. Uh, Something to keep in mind, guys. You might want to read these books off the bookshelf. You don't got to reread them, but just give them a once over. Sometimes they will level up your woodworking or some of your weapon proficiencies for some reason. You don't have to sit here and read the whole passage unless you want to. You can just open it and then back out. Now, you're not obligated to read every damn book, by the way, but it's something you might want to do your first time around, just to get some stuff leveled up. You can see that's what they're doing. They're like giving the books a once over. I've grown to love that blast bones, by the way, as well. Very, very fun, especially in PvP when you send that blast bones out. And someone tries to run around the corner, he jumps at them like, nope, not today. It lets them have it. Sorcerer's a very powerful class, by the way, guys, if you're interested in it. Oh, sorry, let me mute it for a second. I think these are very loud. Sorry, we're outside. Okay, we're back. As you can see, Sorcerer's a very popular class as well. I think this is like the second person. You could tell who's a sorcerer because they have these little purple pets. These are Daedric pets. So whenever you see one but beside the person, you're usually a sorcerer. So you can see the crew they're with, they're like getting sacrificed basically. They're bound by like a soul crystal. So the mechanic here is basically to just destroy the soul crystal and then you can free them, right? If you don't do that, they just die, but it doesn't end the quest. You could just keep pushing forward. And your special thing for this, guys, for this DLC, is you get a grapple hook and you use it to move about from certain parts of the map. Funny enough, Neverwinter did steal this from them after this came out and they put it in their DLC. Which, funny enough, I'm pretty sure was a Dungeons and Dragons thing to begin with, right? Because everything originates from that game, so it might have been in like the old books or something like that. I mean, unless they just stole it from Batman. And she's just telling me that we got to destroy these like little crystals. That's all she's telling me. Right, once we destroy it, you see he's not tied to it anymore. We could go down there and free him. If we didn't do that, he would just fall to the floor and die. It's funny, didn't the whole like Elder Scrolls storyline come about from someone's D&D campaign? I'm pretty sure that I remember hearing a story like this was just someone's Dungeons and Dragons campaign and they just like tweaked everything around when they were making this. We could talk to this guy. He doesn't really have much to say. Just that he was getting super wrecked. And then we just talked to her to push her forward. There's really not much to be said about it. Right? Pretty straightforward quest. Free all her partners and then free her brother. And then she's thankful. It's funny, there's like a handful of people on. I usually don't see them in this part of the quest. Maybe, right? Uh-oh. Sorry guys, I did have to mute it for a second. Unfortunately, we're not really going to get much out of this area right now because you can see there's a couple people here and they're pretty powerful already. Right, there's a bunch of them. You see they have like companions out, a bunch of pets out, so really not much we can do. I was hoping to get like a lover or two out of this, but it's not going to be the case. Yeah, I just remember hearing about it in passing, right? Because I don't know much about the game myself. Rather, I don't know much about the game's history, right? Well, so much about the game, we can say that. Same thing. So we just kind of use this to travel. Basmos has pretty good range, it has pretty good damage. Its morph is pretty powerful as well. You can see we can use the grapple hook from pretty far away as well. You can see the more you use the move, right, even if you don't use it, right, it'll get leveled up as long as it's on your bar, but the more you actually use it, the faster it does get leveled up. Also, if you want to level up one tree in particular very quickly, the more moves you have on from that tree will help it level up as well. So like if I have two Gravelord stuff on, Then the Gravelord tree itself will get leveled up pretty quickly. Nothing game breaking, mind you guys, but it is a little more helpful sometimes to have that. I guess we'll just take advantage of the fact that persons are here. The people are here. And we'll just free everybody. Talking to them is just for flavor, right? They don't have much info. I'm not sure where Miri is at though. Where's... There she is. So technically we have 3 more to go. We're not going to get much fighting done, but it's okay. We really just want the companion. As you can see, this is what happens to them when we don't save them. They get soul shriving, guys. They get their soul sucked out their body. And they're a little lifeless husk. Funny enough, he's the only guy that this happens to, so... Poor Galler. You'll never be able to save him, ever, ever, ever. So she's worried about her brother, basically. And we're going to do our best to help him out. Will we help him out, guys, though? Stay tuned. And you know like the way it goes, right? Stay out of the red. Don't touch it. You're gonna get wrecked if you stand in red. Other players are here doing all the heavy lifting, so I don't really have to do much. Wasn't intended, but I'll take it. Not Dijos. Keep in mind you don't gotta like save them either. You can just break that crystal if you want to like rush it along. I'm sorry, guys. Obviously, something is going on right now outside. A lot of sirens right now. A lot of sirens. So I will be muting it on and off. Let's just talk to Mary. So everybody's safe but her brother. I'm tempted to just run by these people because... Oh. I thought this character was gonna, like, destroy everybody. Yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. That's my story, at least, and I'm sticking to it. This one's pretty straightforward. We just gotta hit these switches to open the door. Let's help this guy out, though, even though he doesn't really need it. going at him. I'm not sure if you saw it or not, but there's like a lady at this portal. And she's like the person that stole everybody. We're gonna meet her in a moment. There she is. You can see someone is cheesing her from up there. That's another player. And we can take a look at her. She will respawn in a little while. I don't know what she is. I guess she's a Daedra. Honestly, I don't know much about the game's actual lore myself, right? I can't draw back on its rich history, so all of these strange races I'm not too sure on. Just have a brief passing knowledge. There's her brother there, but we actually have to save this guy. And here's all the people we saved. So there we go. Now we have it complete. So now that we finished that quest, right? Um, we got a level. That was unintentional, right? Well, let's go ahead and get this bear out the way so I can talk a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but she said if we need help at any point, that she'll like always be there for us, or something along those lines, right? She says she wants to be our girlfriend and all that kind of stuff. So now she's waiting by the phone for us to call her, and it's just as simple as opening up your menu. Wrong thing. Opening up your quick bar and then going to your ally section right here. You can see they're already quick slotted in because that's how I put it, and I can simply call her out. Right, I'm telling her mom isn't home. She could come over. There she is. And now she's an ally. And we could take a brief look at her. Let's head on over here. Yeah, we'll level up first. I also gotta fix this, I think. Yeah, I gotta fix that. That's fine, though. It's not too much. No, I'm not sure if... This isn't too bad. We can do this. Let's make sure... Our orc stuff kind of takes priority, though. For me, at least. Okay, we don't need any of that there, then. That's okay. So I guess we will just get this reusable parts. When your blast bones, skeletal mage, or spirit mender dies, the cost of your next blast bones, skeletal mage, or spirit mender is reduced by 25%. Sounds like a good deal. So the next rank is reduced by 50. Pretty good. We have to get that at level 18 of our Grave Lord. So once we get to level 18, we can invest more in it. Okay. I'm okay with that, guys. But let's take a moment. So if you want to fix them, right, you can just first of all look at her like this if you go to third person. I mean first person mode, right? We are pretty tall, so we gotta look down on her. But you can also just talk to her. And there's a couple options here, right? So there's let's talk about us, and there's like the how do you feel about a relationship. They just have something random to say. It is not much that they say, right? Event you can cycle out this pretty quickly, and they'll like start recycling their dialogue. But the real reason I want to talk to them is to get to this companion menu. So here you can see the overview of like how friendly they are with you. I don't know if they get like very unfriendly if they'll just stop being with you. I don't think that's the case because they're kind of baked in now. They're locked in. And you have a couple things you can do here. You could go to outfits. If you have an outfit made for her or him, you can put it on them there. Also, if you have some collectible outfits, you know, from leveling up, they can wear the outfits you've unlocked. Now, you can't change their face too much, I don't think, or their hair, unless it's baked into the outfit itself, right? But whatever you've collected, they can also wear, right? So you can make her look like that if you want. One thing about this game, guys, and I don't know why, but every elf in this game is hideous. What did the elves do something wrong? Are they being punished? Like, look at this dark elf face right here. Look at it. Freaking look at it, guys. Come on. Who did this to them? I mean, I do get used to it, right? After a while, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're not too bad looking, but they're pretty bad looking. Right, but there's the costumes. Usually, if I have nothing else to give her, I give her Dark Seducer. And guess why? You can guess why, right? She looks hot in it. Doesn't fix her head, though. They have weird heads. But we're not going to give her a costume for now, but you usually have her in Dark Seducer. Um, and you can give them any mounts that you collected as well. So whatever you have here unlocked, you can give to them. Uh, Jesus, everything is going off today. Tell you what, guys, give me about 5 minutes. Let's refresh everything. Let's get some water. Hopefully, all these this background noise um, dies down. But before we get into that, very, very briefly, the reason you want to talk to them is so that way you can like look at their equipment and skills. You want them as soon as possible because whenever you loot an enemy or like open a chest, you do have a chance to get companion equipment. As you can see, they are account bound, so luckily enough, she is at her max level, and I do have her decked out for using a bow. That's why she has a purple one. Like I said, it's never going to be as good as like another player, but it does help out a lot, especially if you're just starting the game out and you don't have anything, right? They can pick up the slack a lot of the time. They're not going to walk you through the game, though, that's for sure. Um, and here you go. You could change her skills. She has a set amount of skills here. She's more built up to being a Nightblade, so she has like shadow moves, right? And she has some like terror moves and some blood drain moves. She's more Nightblade based, but we have her with the bow. You can give them any weapon you want as long as you have that weapon to give them, and it has to specifically say companion in front of it, right? That's how you know it's for companion. And it has like this weird like green or like colored outline. That's how you know it's for them. So if you want her to use dual wields, if you want him to use dual wields, you can do that. You just have to find them and then give them to her or him. I'm going to say her a lot because she's like who I mainly use. And each, like you see, she has their own moves for each weapon as well. So you can just keep building them up. So you're not like locked into just having her be an archer or anything like that. You can make her a healer or him a healer. You can have them being a magic damage dealer, a physical damage dealer from range, right? A close range melee. You can have them tank as well. You can change their armor to heavy, medium, and light. You can mix it up. That's all up to you guys. They do get stuff from Mages Guild, Fighters Guild, and Undaunted, which is also why you want them as soon as possible. And they have their own built-in racial passive as well. Right. So make sure you get them. If you get them, uh, if you have the DLC for them, there's about four companions in the game. There's two in Blackwood and there's two in High Isle, I believe. Um, if you're new, if you're just starting out, I will go out of my way to get them as quickly as you can. Uh, Especially if you're new, because they do also level up, and you need them. You need to have them out to level them up, and they need to be with you and just like equipped basically. You can see bottom right hand side, she's level 20. That is their max level. When you first get them, they'll be like level 1, right? So you need to have them out. You need to have them out while you're doing missions and stuff like that. So just get them and just have them alongside you. If you don't like the way they talk too much in the options, there is an option here in audio. No, I gotta find it now. I do think it's in gameplay. Sometimes they do talk a lot, especially Bastion. I don't like his little bitch ass because of that. He complains a lot. But there's an option here somewhere. I promise you guys. I'm not sure where it's at. But it's here somewhere, and it makes it so that they're a little bit more passive. Here we go. So it's in gameplay, companion reactions. You can tone it down to infrequent. And sometimes like when you're like out in the world writing, they might like comment on like the locale. If you do something they don't like, they will talk about it and start complaining. If you do something they like, they'll start talking about it. Uh, with this set, they'll hardly talk at all. And if you have Bash now, he whines a lot. So just be ready for that. We have it on infrequent. She doesn't like bugs, by the way, guys. So if you have her out and you start like grabbing bugs for like whatever job you're doing, she will complain first of all. And second of all, it'll bring her like companion menu down a little bit, like her friendship meter. Keep that in mind. Bastion doesn't like it when you steal. By the way, I'm not sure about the other two companions because we don't have that DLC. I do want it because I want all the companions. Right? They kind of get at me with that stuff, but we don't have it yet. And what you want to do now, guys? Well, what I want to do is I want to get my other companion, which actually is Bastion. Uh, we can start the quest for him. He's all the way at the other side of the map. So she's all the way to the north. He's all the way to the south. He's down here. Luckily, I can use the waypoint shrine. I could teleport to around here-ish, and then make my way down here. These other like little blue dots, these are from the other quest that we have. And we're just gonna teleport there, and I do need some water, guys. So give me a minute. You can see this person has the warden class. That's why they have this bear route. Look at this big old beefy bear boy. But we'll be right back, guys. Give me just a few minutes. We'll stand here because I think it's safe here. And I'll be right back, guys. Give me a couple minutes. Alright guys, I am back. So we're just going to continue on. If you guys don't know what I'm doing right now, by the way, we are just basically getting our companions out the way. We're doing the Blackwood chapter, but we are doing some things first, right? We are going to need to respec our stamina. We're going to go into Magicka instead. That is what we're going to do. 64 points to Magicka. That's the plan right now, guys. No, I don't think I have enough gold to do that right now. So we're just gonna hold off on that. And we're gonna make our way south to this little area here. If you're like making a beeline for it, like you don't have to kill every enemy, right? You can just like run past every enemy and then finish the quest. It'll take you maybe like 15 minutes at the most. And we actually did do that fairly quickly because there was like another couple players there and they were pretty powerful, it looked like. But we can stop and we could just kill some of the wildlife too. You can see we have her set up for a bow. So she has some good skills. Let's take a moment and look at her actually. I don't know why we're having such a hard... There we go. Having such a hard time lining up with her. I might need to fix this little reticle. But she has some good skills that we have equipped on her. We could take a brief look at it. So we have Viper's Bite. Usually, also guys, the order you have it in is the order they'll do the moves in. So try to balance it around their cooldowns and what you want them to do, like, you know, like her hardest hitting move or something like a DOT. Right, so we have Viper's Bite that does a DOT. And then we have Trick Shot here, which is immobilize. So poison and then immobilize, right? And then we have Piercing Arrow. And then we have some stuff for her to help her evasion. And we have Twilight Mantle. So she kind of just cycles through these moves here, and then if she starts getting low on health, she'll start popping these two. And then she has her own ultimate. She's not bad. I've seen her with some other setups like Magic's ones. The Magic ones are pretty good. I mean, she's pretty customizable. Most of the companions are pretty customizable, so you're not, like I said, you're not tied into just making them use the art, whatever starting weapon they had. You can give them other weapons. You can also purchase weapons in town, but they're not going to be as good as like some of the stuff you can loot. You generally want them to have like the purple gear on, for the most part. Also keep in mind, guys, that I'm just making beelines here, so we're just kind of cutting our way through the map. And we're going to fight these bog dogs and stuff like that. Anything that gets in our way, we'll just have to take care of. Unless it's like a bounty or something like that. I do think we should fix this reticle though, because it's kind of getting to me, so let's go ahead and tweak that a little bit. This is better, I can deal with that. And we could go into this cave right here. This is a different quest though, this is to find somebody. So I don't want to get sidetracked too much. Let's just go straight ahead into Bastions. We could also, you know, we can do that when we're done. Also keep in mind, guys, we're not on our horse because our horse is extremely slow, or our mount, whatever you want to call it. Extremely slow. And here we're pretty quick. This person's like level 1000. You can see that's another companion. This is from the DLC, this cat companion. That is from High Isle. And I think that's a Dwemer contraption. They're moving pretty quickly, though. Just want to get this so that it's discovered. Make a push forward. Try for your rotation, though, what you want to do is you want to cast Blast Bones first, because he takes a minute to spawn and then to run there. Right, but since we're just very new, nothing really matters. Like, our rotation doesn't really count for much, as long as we just do the damage and get them done. And here I'm just seeing if I could just kind of jump around and make my way over there, but it doesn't seem like it. I might need to go the opposite way. Okay. Okay with this. All the stuff you're seeing, like those random, like Ichor and all that other stuff, that's like crafting related. Like I said, guys, if you're new, the crafting thing might be a little bit too much. That's more of an ESO plus kind of thing, because you need like a big crafting bag to hold your materials. You'll run out of storage space basically very quickly. So I do think since we started the quest like kind of already, he says a little bit more. He says like there's someone that needs some help, and then we find Bastion over here because he's all chained up with motorcycle chains. He has some bike chains on him. So Dark Elf got him. His partner, she like betrayed him a little bit, or not his partner, like somebody he knew got him and tied him up. So she's trying to get somebody that he's also trying to get. I'm giving the Cliff Notes version though, right? So be aware of that. So he's looking for someone called Quisley. That's his stepbrother, basically. Now we can pick up this centipede, but I will kill it. Looks like that person is also here doing this quest, which I guess they got their other companions first and they're getting these. So there's some cultists here. We can take care of them pretty quickly though. They're not too much of an issue. Right, it's pretty simple. Like I said, you don't gotta kill everybody, right? You can kind of walk your way around them. Some people are unavoidable though, right? You know how it is sometimes if you're at a door, you can't walk through that door because they're like smacking you. Also keep in mind you can't have both companions out at once. The only reason they're both here is because he's technically an NPC right now. Right, he's just here because of this actual quest line. You also could do it whatever order you want, so you could get him first and then go get Miri. It's not a big deal. More up to your personal preference. Last Bones is pretty powerful, even at his base form is pretty good. So we just freed some people, right? And basically, all they have to say is that they're sacrificing people. So, Cliff Notes version, guys, is that he's looking for. Why is it like this right now? Let me just have a sip of this before we get into it. Sorry about that, guys. A lot is going on outside tonight. But basically, the Cliff Notes version is that he was raised alongside someone else, right? But he wasn't really part of their family. He was more like maybe a bastard. They don't really go too much into a bastard or like, maybe someone's friend, like a family member's friend, and then he got like took into their care. But he's trying to help. Technically, what is his brother for the most part because they were raised together. Don't say that. I didn't do anything though, right? It's just a lot. Sometimes something happens out there and they're out there for a while. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't live in the best areas, and I'm not gonna say like I live in the worst area though. It's not the worst, but it's definitely not uh, a good place. I will say that. So sometimes something happens out there. You might hear some fireworks or something, quote unquote, right? But yeah, so basically, he's trying to help what's the equivalent to his brother. It seems like the guy gets in trouble a lot. He needs to bail him out a lot. So he's basically this is like the last time he's gonna help him because he's fed up with him. You see, there are some mechanics, right? But since I know all the mechanics, we're not like falling prey to them a lot of the time. You can interrupt people. You can block certain things and make them kind of like get off balance. You see, when they're off balance, I can usually knock them down. Maybe someday we'll move out of this godforsaken fucking city. I shouldn't be cursing too much because I think YouTube doesn't even like it anymore. It's gonna make it hard for me. Eventually I do want to get monetized on both platforms, and they're gonna look down on these kind of things where I don't even do it often, but they're gonna complain. You can see here if you have intimidate, you can get some extra dialogue out of them. But since we don't, we just question them, and then Bastion wants to stay behind and do some more questioning while we push forward. It really pays to have your own archer on your side too. And the person we just freed, guys, is the person that chained the Bastion. They got her. We just helped her out. So now she's willing to help us out in return. I do think she's a dark elf. They all look pretty similar. And she looks a little bit worse than Mary, honestly. I don't know. I don't know what's going on because they have a very odd look to them. Funny enough, now that I think even more about it, most of the Dark Elf like NPCs that are like quest related, they do pretty much have the same face. They have a case of the same face for the most part. And we're just gonna help her out, so should we gotta push forward? You see some enemies here, some other necromancers. When they're glowing like yellow, that means they have loot on them, but they really don't have much on them that I need. Maybe a bit of gold, if I'm lucky. Oh, we can take it. We can sell it. You know how it is, guys. You have your one spammable, right? So we can spam this scythe if we wanted to. Usually it does pretty good damage. I think since he's undead, it's not doing as much as it usually does. And there's some guilds. You can join guilds at level 7, it looks like. You get some free potions. You get some rewards. We'll save these points for later because I do gotta respec them a little bit, I think. As far as the orc skills go, we will have to wait till around level 25 to get our nice bonus sprint speed. Unfortunately, we will get tri-focused though, so let's see. A heavy attack from lightning staff damages nearby enemies for 50% of the damage. I do think we want that. Nothing here is exactly ready, right? We need blast bones to get to level 5. Ruinous Scythe is already morphed, but we need that to get to level 5 as well, to level 4, right? Because I think every level that it gets, it costs a little bit less to cast and it does a little bit more damage. And as far as this goes, I do think we're just going for Spirit Mender. Even though generally we want to get all the passives that you can out of each tree. Usually, right? Usually that's what you want to do. So we're trapped in here, right? We're at a dead end, but there's a vampire locked up. And we're going to ask him for some help. So basically what we're doing is he's helping us out, and then he wants us to help him out by freeing him. Uh, you don't have to free him, by the way, guys, and he says we're going to regret it. As far as I know, we never see him again after this. So, uh, I'm not sure if that, like, pays off down the line. We usually let him out, though. He doesn't attack us or anything like that. So he just says thank you, basically, but we could push forward from here. Like I said, there's no like meter, right? There's no like bad guy meter. Funny enough, there is kind of a meter in a way because when you do things your companions don't like, the meter goes up and down for them. But that's just for their friendship. And I think they'll help you out regardless, right? So it doesn't even matter. So they both need Quizly pretty bad. Basically, she needs his brother for a bounty, and he needs him just to help him out. That's why they're at an impasse right now. They know each other, obviously. Pretty good, pretty good. Plasmos is almost ready to be morphed. We will have a few extra points as long as we sell some of our stuff and then we spec our points a little bit. So she's obviously a necromancer. She's got a big old flesh beast with her. Let's do that, because when we do that scythe, it does make him bleed out. I'm not sure if he can bleed because he's a horrible flesh monster. It looks like he's hemorrhaging, though. So you guys can't hear their voice, huh? Quizly has a very funny voice. I wonder if it's gone. Is it just going completely, or is it just really low? I wonder if it's going completely because I'm streaming. That's fine though. Let's push forward. There's Quizly. Oh, you can barely hear it. Let's raise it up a little bit. And we'll do it by increments, right? Let's do it by 2. And let me know, guys, if I'm going to talk while he's talking. And let me know if you can hear both of us. Okay, testing. He sounds kind of loud, though. He does sound kind of loud, but maybe it's because my headset is turned up. I don't want it too loud, though. A little better. I think we could do it by like one more, right? Because I don't want to get drowned out either. So they both want him, right? So we'll do it by one more, and then that'll be it. So let's do it by one more. Halfway, right? And we'll talk to Tanari.
Bastion doesn't seem very fond of Quisley. I can't imagine why. We compared notes while we were talking with that simpering idiot. Bastion said he might have an idea that would solve things for both of us. Years ago, I lost everything trying to get my brother out of a fishy trading scheme. Last offered to help me. I'm still paying for it. It would be grand to be done with Lost Toll and to pull one over him at the same time. If Bastion's
She
will
missed a
is
word there.
granted, and perhaps forget about the knocked out and tied up business, I think we might have room for a compromise.
Bastion, sir?
Once we get Quisly
Are we coming to an agreement?
I'm done. I've paid my debt to his family 3 times over. All right. I think I know how to sort this out. If Tenare is prepared to listen, that is. I'm willing to overlook the knock on the head to settle this. First, we need to get Quisly out of Blackwood. Tenare doesn't have anything personal against him. Well, no more than anyone else who meets him. But the criminals she'd bring Quisly to might kill him. I'll threaten to tell his parents about this whole affair unless he cooperates and goes straight back to Daggerfall. Quisly knows that Lord Sylvel can cut him off. It's the only threat that actually scares him. He would have to earn a living. I think we can all walk away from this. We ship Quisly home, secretly. Then we make sure that Tenare has something she can take back to Lars Tull. Thank you, friend. I think Lord Sylvel would agree that you've earned your payment. What do you think, Tenare?
So there we go. The quest is complete. There is something I really like about this quest right here. And it's because they came to an agreement. Basically, they're going to take his ring and bring it back.
If I bring Quisly's signet ring to Lost Toll, he'll believe me.
That's what I was thinking.
But, you know, it's his ring, so he doesn't want them to take it.
Sold the ring to pay his debt.
I'm right here!
That ring should work. It might even cover most of Quisly's debt.
What? My ring? I'm not giving you a damn thing. Bastian, keep that woman away from me. Ugh!
Here you go. I'll make sure
Unfortunately, another player came and ruined the whole cutscene.
Blackwood.
But he's doing his thing right. He's just trying to level up too.
Clear my account with Lost Toll. And perhaps clear yours with this ingrate and his family too.
But I like when Quisly got punched. That's like my favorite part about this quest.
Way when he comes around.
So then now that we're done with him, he like can get summoned whenever. And you could take a quick look around here, right? You can read the library, the bookshelf. I mean, right? Read the books off the bookshelf. Sometimes you might get a little woodworking or leatherworking level off of it. Sometimes even your like dual wield might go up by one, or you're two-handed. So keep that in mind, folks. And now we have everybody. Right, so they did streamline this because before you could only have them in your quick slot. So it seems like they spread it out between like companions, emotes, and like your consumables. So now they're only in their ally section. I guess because they're planning on having a lot of allies, it looks like. But I could bring him out just so we could look at him very quickly. He is slightly geared up. Right, there he is. We have him set up as a tank, obviously.
What's on your mind?
Right, he has a sword on board here. We could take a look at some of his gear. Let's take a look at his skills, though. He acts as a Dragon Knight, it looks like, for the most part. Right, he has Drake's Blood, he has Basalt Barrier, he has Kindle. He has Provoke, that's the one-handed, you know, kind of thing. Sword, the one-handed and shield. Sword and shield. Right, he has Drake's Blood, he has Crushing Claws. He, for most, all intents and purposes, mostly a Dragon Knight. Searing Weapons, right, he has all kinds of stuff. And we could take a look at him in action as well. He's not as good as a regular tank, right? But he, like I said, most of these companions, they... It's better than not having anybody with you. Right, you can see he does have a taunt here. He has armor up move. We'll just give him a second to draw aggro, right? And then now he has the aggro. And you can feel free to kill as quickly as you can. Right, so... If you're out alone in the world, they do help you out a lot. They might not be like killing any bounties right away, but I do think if you set them up properly, eventually they'll survive long enough for you to kill the bounty by yourself, or the world boss, or whatever it is you're trying to do. I have run them through a couple dungeons, like when we were missing like a DPS or a healer or something, and they've done pretty okay. With some of our support, mind you guys. But if we do something like if we walk up to these bulls and we just start fighting these bulls, which are a world boss, we might as well get them. Because I do need the credit for this boss. Right, this is a bounty or a world boss, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna beat him because it seems like there's already some other people here. I mean, they have some loot on them. But if there's no other people, if it's just me and Bastion here, usually Bastion will die pretty quickly. Or Miri, right? They don't last long, even if max level and like capped out gear. You probably got to build them very specifically for content like this. I do prefer Miri at this point, just because of the way she's built up for deep damage. Now that all that is out the way, we can actually do the regular quests, or we could do the zone story. So I do think we'll start that up. Basically, all we gotta do is find Casa Jirich, because he is right over here. We're close enough that I think I could just ride there. You know what? We're gonna run there because horse is slow. You can see that is kind of a bug where I was running off to the side. That's because I got off my mount, so I was like running. I was like sliding on my heels. There's 4 blue blood guys. I don't think there's anything in there. Let's take a quick peek. I think this is just more of a like an enemy zone. We'll take a little peek in there. I'm trying my best to find the entrance. Is there a waypoint shrine in here? Maybe there's a waypoint. No, this is very, very small area. Okay. Like I said, guys, there's no waypoint in there. That's what I was trying to tell you guys the whole time. Oh, look at all that ray tracing. Wow. All right, let's push forward. And don't forget, guys, you don't got to kill every enemy you come across, right? You're not bouncing there. You can do whatever you want. There's the cave we passed by earlier, if you guys remember. So we'll just go into this cave. Take a nice little peek around. Looks like they left a note out. So the guy is scared. Or the counselor's scared, rather, right? Let's see if we can find them. They are pretty close by, actually. Oh, donkey. Cool, very cool looking donkey. Nice little guy. The meta must have shifted because, I mean, there were a lot of sorcerers before, but now there's like, I've seen them more than anything for the most part. A lot of sorcerers and a lot of dragon knights, but I've seen more sorcerers for damage than like any class so, recently. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Something is going on, damn it. Something I don't know about because I don't really read patch notes like that too much.
Counselor Jurek? Oh, pardon me. You're not the counselor. Apologies. I heard you stumbling about and thought you
Yeah,
were Counselor
she
Jurek.
looks like she's from the Flintstones.
Oh, no one important, I assure you. I'm simply one of the counselor's aides. I helped she initially.
So she's looking for the counselor. We're gonna try to help her find him. Counselor's actually right over here. They're super wrecked.
I refused to believe. Farrell, Leviticus, they were right.
What happened to you, counselor?
An assassin.
An assassin got her.
You must warn the others. The counselors. Leothic's secret. It will be
I mean,
death of us all.
I don't see any wounds on you, lady. Oh,
Counselor Jurek!
I guess the assassin gave her a heart attack. Not a spot on her. Yeah, you were too late. You were too late, little lady.
Damn it, I'm too late. Poor Counselor Jurek. She didn't deserve to die like that. At least I don't think she did. Did you see what happened? Who attacked her? The Dark Brotherhood. Just like with Farrell Lupus. Sorry. I'm working for Counselor Leviticus, the head of the
And this
temple.
is Evelyn Sharp Arrow. She's gonna be our little buddy for this mission.
Own House Empress.
Kind of cute. She's a wood elf. The wood elves look a little bit better than the dark elves. I would say they're like the better looking elves overall, even compared to like the high elves.
It relates to something.
Strictly talking about the females though, right? I haven't seen many of these male wood
I
elves.
think they're Daedric weapons, but I'm still puzzling that out. I was working for Farrell Lupus before he was murdered. Found a strange tome with Daedric markings at his behest. Yeah,
Basically, we're just helping her, right? It's a whole murder mystery. They think the Dark Brotherhood is involved because they've been finding like little papers and stuff like that. So now we have to warn everybody. And we're just making beelines, guys, or we're not doing anything crazy. Although I should go into town, actually. Let's go into town. Now let's sell a couple things. I do think we should actually start wrapping it up as well. We've been in here for a little while. So let's sell some things, right? Let's make sure we're ready for our next playthrough. These are definitely the kind of games though where we got to get started a little bit earlier, right? Because even in something like this, there's a lot of dialogue at times, depending on what you're doing. Here you can see some other players that are walking around, right? They have some nice mounts here. Uh, Look at this mount. This mount looks awesome. Oh, where are you going? Looking at you. Hey, stay right there. That's a cool looking mount, don't you guys think? Oh, he left. These are the player-run shops here. These, let's take a look at what it's called. The Guild Traders. So there's like a whole handful of them, and if you need to do some shopping and need to find some stuff, that's where they're at. Right, so these are the Guild Traders. Don't worry about that too much. We need like the regular shops, basically. for the most part. And they're like down here. Hey, look at this pony. A lot of stuff, guess what, guys? This is all cash up related, which honestly is annoying, but at the same time, if you're gonna sell like stuff in the cash up, it might as well just be purely cosmetics. So I don't necessarily have too big of an issue with that. But there is a lot of good looking stuff that is purely tied behind the cash shop, right? This is where you gotta like put your outfit together from your like armor and stuff like that, and dye like your costumes. Who's this?
I once lived in an abandoned Hag Raven's cave.
Another what
I
else?
realized it wasn't abandoned. Say what you want about them, but those feathers have style.
Okay. Oh, I needed to repair stuff anyway. Let's repair some stuff. Saw some stuff. Actually, I noticed we actually have. We had some stuff here that we didn't pick up, but it's okay because I don't think we're going to be using too many of it, right? We'll use the legs for sure, and mostly because it has training on it, and it's a little bit higher level. Well, a lot higher level. But as far as everything else goes, we're not going to use. Now the good thing is we could probably use those legs for research. That way if we craft in the future, which might not happen. But you know, it might not happen, but we will have it there. And you can see it gives you extra experience. So it's good to have like some stuff like this set aside if you do make a alt. You can make them like level 5 stuff and then level 10, and you know, can make it increments of like 10 levels, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, stuff like that. And then, you know, he'll have a set of gear on that gives him extra experience for 10 levels. Usually helps, right? That's what a lot of people that play the game heavily do and are able to craft. Um, we're not that guy. We're not going to be there. But it doesn't hurt to have it there just in case. And here we can sell some stuff, so we'll just get rid of this extra. Some of this extra stuff that we're never going to use. Keep in mind, guys, as well, that you can't take a trait from one weapon and give it to another one. So if we take the training off of this bow, all we could do is give it to another bow, right? So for us, it's worthless because we're going to be using like lightning staffs most of our playthrough. At least that's what I think we're going to do. So all this extra training stuff is really not going to help us out in the long run. Even as far as staffs go, like you want actual like lightning staff, because taking it off of this staff is not going to help you out either. We could just sell this traveler stuff. We're never going to use it. And then this chest is heavy, so we're not going to use that. We're running a very specific armor setup that way we can level up all 3 skill lines at once. Now we should have a bit of gold on us, so let's go ahead and finish up our respecking, and then we should be completely ready for next time. And I do think the site is for attributes. So there we go. And now you can see our attributes are clean. I'm not sure what we're going to put yet, so I'll hold off on that for a little bit, but they will be ready for next time. And I'm just going to do a once over here and make sure we're not missing anything important. Took everything off of there. We're going to go from mostly medium armor stuff, so we get critical attack up, right? So we want critical damage. At the end, we'll have mostly medium, like I said, armor on. But it does help to get all the points into all the passives for each armor set. Because if you're going for like a trifecta, right? So say like you have a mixer armor on, you'll still get a bonus just for having at least one piece on. And if you level these things up, right, they'll still have their bonus. So just keep that in mind, guys, right? If you're gonna like wear like one or two pieces from different armor sets or different armor lines, that it does help to have some of these passives on them unlocked. As far as orc goes, we need to get to level 10. The good stuff is right here, though. We need to get to level 25. It looks like we're not going to be able to do it for a little while. We do have some stuff that will help us level up, though. And one of those things is Crown Experience Scroll. We're not going to use that yet. We're going to hold on to that until next time. Right, we have some food here that does raise our stats. That is a thing in this game, guys, right? There's consumable meals. You can either cook them, you can buy them, you know, all that kind of stuff. You can hunt the ingredients yourselves, right? The animals, you could cut the animals down, or you could butcher them, get the food, get the meat, whatever they have, get the seasoning, all that stuff. Make some particular dishes. Uh, in order to learn better recipes, though, you will have to find them, buy them, unlock them, read the recipe out the recipe book, etc., etc. I do believe, and then you'll be able to make said food. Uh, there's a lot of guides out there, and as much as I played this game over the years, I'm still fairly new to it. There's a lot I don't know, so you know, if you want to learn more about that, there's some good websites out there. I can direct you to some other like players that I do like watch some of their YouTube videos on, not too often, but I know they're like more up there in terms of like Elder Scrolls Online kind of content. Right. Just let me know if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know. I'll put a link in the description of the video to like other channels that I think are pretty decent. Um, if you guys are interested in watching me play this more, definitely let me know. We could do this as a regular rotation. I do think it is something worth keeping on. I do enjoy playing this game, right? And I don't think I'll level up this guy offline as well. So he'll be sitting here waiting for us to boot him up again. He'll be in hell basically in limbo. He'll be waiting. Um, when we're really gonna hunker down though is when that new class comes out, which is sometime in June. We're gonna have to balance it. Okay, cool. Cool. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. We're gonna try our best not to get burnt out, but we will put some time into it. I do want to level this class up in particular because I do like Necromancer in this game, and we need to get him to level 50 at the very least. And yeah, we'll pick up the playthrough, guys. Tomorrow's a wild card for our gameplay, so uh, you know, we'll see what I decide to play. We're just gonna hang out. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be Friday night. And we're going to wrap up the stream for now, guys. Guys, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Everybody on Twitch, thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube and you like what you see, if you just want to have me on in the background, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, that's when you can catch me, folks. Feel free to stop by, watch me live, subscribe to YouTube, guys. If you want, you'll be catching all my latest streams, right? I usually upload the streams after I stream them. Sometimes they are a day late, I will admit that. Depends, I sometimes edit out like little chunks here and there. Not too much, but like, you know, sometimes there's like a bit in the beginning that I cut out. You won't be missing too much though, guys, but feel free. I do upload some more regularly. Like I said, usually every weekday you'll be seeing something new, but it's mostly a restream for now. With that said, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great night, guys. Catch y'all tomorrow on YouTube. Catch y'all tomorrow as well. I'm Frank Gallows, guys, and it's been a pleasure. Later, guys.